last time on Island ADV.
The plan for today is to get to Castaway. From there, we'll hook up with the Trans Quebec Trail, and we'll see where that takes us.
The old Google Maps is telling me to take a left here, but I think I want to keep pushing right, so I think I'm gonna kind of ignore that.
Hello fellow island riders, welcome back to another day on the Trans Quebec Trail, and welcome back to another episode of our big trip series, Song of the Siren. Today we pick things up in Gaspé just as we get set up to spend another day in the dirt, traversing inland and through the mountainous regions of the Gaspé Peninsula. Our day today brings us into the unknown essentially, because at this point we're not really keeping track of where we are, more so just following that little magenta line on the Trans Quebec Trail app. And once again, it delivered some great scenery today for us.
A little bit of water over road here. Pretty squirrely on the right. Oh wow, she gets interesting now, man. At least right there it did. Bad washout, I guess. Tight right sticks right's line, so stay center. She gets a little choppy there, but oh, the trail deteriorates, man.
This was the first time we'd really seen the Trans-Quebec Trail narrow up and get a little bit more choppy. We were at risk of thinking that we were going to have a leisurely 7 days of ADV riding up through the hills on some nice fire road, dirt road kind of conditions, but that started to change quite a bit here as things started to get a little bit more choppy and a little bit more interesting as far as riding is concerned. But you know what? I love it. I love the whole scope of ADV. Blacktop, dirt road, and a little bit of choppy conditions too.
Wow. Montaigne. Water up right side. Stay center line. Bit of a washout coming up too. Big water coming up. Doesn't look like a problem really. I'm just gonna roll it. Nah, not too bad. I didn't even get the boots wet. So water's back on the menu. The road's gonna be like this all day, man. Maybe this was a good call. It's like technically it's 100 kilometers till next fuel is what it's telling me, give or take. And that's in Murdochville, so that's the next real big township. But it's not looking too bad. Like right here we should have like almost a water situation, but watch this stuff. Keep your momentum. It keeps going around the bend. Big rock in the middle. Stay right, stay right. We're gaining altitude now, man.
This section of the Trans-Quebec Trail saw some of the highest elevations for the whole trip, probably close to around 1,000 meters above sea level. But despite all the beautiful views, the fun little trails, and the interesting elevations, there was one thing sitting in the back of my mind during this day, and that was our wild camp location. And it was probably going to be one of the sketchiest ones on the trip. Originally, we had planned a wild camp right next to a water crossing in this location here. Now, normally when I do these trips and I plan the routes, I look for trouble spots like this. Places where I can't confidently cross water. However, when we got to the location right here, it turned out that whatever lack of a bridge had been when Google Maps had posted that image has been fixed. So now we were short one wild camp and it was time to find a new one.
Once we summit whatever this mountain is, I'm going to take a break and check the maps out. This is a good spot. We got good line of sight either way.
So the hunt was on. After looking at the maps, we couldn't really find anything that we were confident in. So we figured we'd just start riding. Now, one of the things that we were worried about too is the fact that this was probably one of our longest dirt rides. And it was getting us really close to the DR650's fuel range. We would have probably been putting in about 180 kilometers of this dirt material in here from Gas Bay. And when you start adding in trying to find a wild camp, it gets more and more troublesome in that regard. But we ended up finding a neat location right here, a bit of a plateau off of a side of a dual track. Brandon spotted it and suggested that we take a look. So we moved up into the location, scouted it out a little bit, and started to do a bit of a recce. When it comes to looking for wild camps, I'm looking for trail sign from animals and any sign of civilization that might cause us trouble. And we were getting some bad vibes here.
All right, so our wild camp for tonight did not pan out. The way it looks on Google Maps is completely different than what it is. It looked like there was no bridge and we had to do a really good water crossing today. This was our sketchiest point in today. But it's totally none of that. It's actually a really beautiful place with a really nice bridge. It's a nice, beautiful brook that flows under it, but there's no place to camp for it safely. So for the last little while, we've been looking for wild camps doing the thing that we scouted. We found this place, it's quite good, but it's still early. It's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the plan now is going to be to push back out to Murdochville and then try to get some sort of idea beyond that on where we can find a place to stay tonight. I'll keep you posted.
Staying positive on this trip through the adversity, the missteps, and the little things like this was starting to become a bit of a challenge. This is probably the second time we've been skunked for a wild camp, and I'm feeling a little bit like the Song of the Siren is leading us towards a dead end. In the Song of the Siren is the story of the Castaway Maiden, a story that I'd found when I had done some research prior to coming up to the Gas Bay Peninsula. It had said that fishermen could hear a woman crying out on the waves in harsh weather, calling out to them, crying to them for a rescue. For me and Brandon, it felt like we were calling out for a really good campsite, and at this point, we were about to stumble on a really good one. On our way to Murdochville, we had noticed some interesting signage along the roadsides, and one particular interesting one was found right along the Rivière de Madeleine. We spotted one right here, and we decided to dig in a little bit deeper and see where that kind of signage would lead us.
It's just our track here, still.
Bonjour.
Partez-vous de loin?
Ah oui.
Oui.
Il de Prétoire. Tu es avec les ex-régionales de Madeleine? Ok. En ligne, je cherche pour des règlements pour des sites comme ça.
Ok, oui,
Et j'ai juste vu de connaître si c'est possible de camp ici pour ce soir.
Ben oui.
Oui?
Ben.
Okay.
Finally, a stroke of luck. That individual was a fly fishing guide for the ZEC de la Rivière de la Madeleine, and this was one of the many pools on that river that they look after. And they do a fantastic job. This is just another amazing salmon river that we managed to find a beautiful place to camp next to. Once again, lucking out. And after a day of trying to find this place, we were happy to get in and set up for camp.
All right, so we're all set up here tonight at these many pools. Fosses means pools, so those are the list of all the pools over there on that sign. And we are on the Rivière de Madeleine, and I think it's a great site. It's awesome. Things are all set up. I've done some changes to the way I've done things on the bike a little bit as we've gone over. One of the biggest things I started doing is putting all my rain gear right here and then strapping it on, just because it's been raining all the time. And it's killed all my kit. That's the way she goes, I guess. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't. That's just the way she goes. Got a little tiny supper planned, had a big lunch. The sleeping bag and pillow and air mattress system has been working fantastic. We're rolling this again. I could set a hammock up in there, but I just like this. This is good. This is fine. So yeah, the idea tonight, we are gonna just chill out, drink some beers, smoke cigars, do what we do on these trips, and then the plan for tomorrow is to kind of pick up day 4. So yeah, basically us being here right now means that we're in our day 4 schedule, and it's only day 3. We're not even halfway through. Tomorrow by noon, I think we're halfway. But yeah, I mean, so that just shortens tomorrow a bit, but man, today was supposed to be a short day, right? We were supposed to be in camp like at 2 p.m. We were gonna have a long time in camp. And when did we get into camp? Like 4 o'clock. And we rode trail all day today. All day we spent on the Trans Quebec Trail. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys here. Maybe I'll pop in a little bit in the evening and let you know how things are going, but I think I'll check in with you in the morning before we step off and roll out on the next little leg that we have for the Trans Quebec Trail. And until then, we'll see you on the road.